You're listening to Mr. Liverpool himself, Frank Carlyle, exclusively on Mersey Radio.
Hello, I'm sorry there, I was all hands waving and everything else. Everyone was screaming and shouting, and you know, as the song finished there, the 8-man by the wonderful Kinks. Anyway, we haven't got John O'Waring tonight, I'm afraid, but I do have Des Flanagan.
Good evening, Frank. You okay?
I'm alright, how are you, Des?
Still breathing, Frank.
Still breathing.
And loving the weather.
Well, I'm coming on to the weather in a moment, and also we've got an annual, or shall we say monthly paranormal expert, Mr.
Jamie Williams.
Thank you. I usually get a couple of words out of him, so why not introduce yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Jamie.
I was waiting for the insults, actually, because I haven't had any yet.
No insults. I give insults.
He missed the trick there. You could have said the debonair, windswept and interesting Jamie Williams.
But that's lying.
Oh, see, like, no, John would be made up with that, wouldn't he? Or even Ian Golder. And he can't be here because he's working. He's a very busy person nowadays, but he said that he'll be back here next week, and so will John.
Okay.
John O'Waring, he'll be here. Before we come up, this is next week, I'm doing a walk, right? Doing the St. George's Hall and, around there. And so this is going to be a fantastic walk next week with a group of people. And John's coming on it. He said, that's great. He said, and then we can go straight up to do the show, can't we? I said, yeah, well, I'll bring you back to my place before we go, and I'll give you some spaghetti bolognese. And he went, he said, you know what? He said, I told me auntie that you make the best bolognese ever. Because he did have it, and he said, auntie, whatever his auntie's name, I forget his auntie's name.
Yeah.
I think it's just Auntie.
Auntie?
Auntie, yeah. So he said, you've got a great competitor. He said, and Frank makes a great bolognese. He even outdoes yours, So that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Whether he says...
Well, whenever you getting some, why don't you bring some in?
I should do, actually. I will do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring some up next week.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, I'll bring some up.
That's if
John
has
love
net
that.
it all, Des.
I love it when it's made properly.
No, it's
That's if John has net it all.
John won't eat it all, because Frank's going to save you, but aren't you?
I tell you, I am. I'll tell you what. It's funny that, because what he did say to his auntie, he said he makes it from the basics, because she said, what kind of sauce does he use, in the jar? So he doesn't use the jar, it's from the basics. Proper Italian stuff,
Wow,
so not nice. Not nice.
Now, I'm going to look forward to that all week now.
I'll definitely bring some up, John. I'm sorry.
I'm George, the new guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jess, I'm sorry. I'll definitely bring some up. Anyway, you mentioned the weather there.
Been great, hasn't it?
Absolutely fabulous. And Mother's Day yesterday.
Yeah.
And I took Francine out, took my daughter out, so I felt a bit rough, to be honest, because I've got a bit of a cold. Excuse me, as you do. And we went out early afternoon, gets into town. It was wonderful. It was wonderful, and you seen all the mums were out. Everybody, and even I went into my regiment, and I seen a few old neighbours, not women but fellas. And I went, yeah, this is a fine Mother's Day out, isn't it? They were all sitting there. They said, well, they're all out, and so it was nice meeting up with those lads as well in my regiment. And we were in there, the Lord's Ward, and all of a sudden, this big gang of fellas came in. And they were all Irish lads. I think they were travellers. Because they were all in T-shirt, them T-shirt things, what they have. And, but they were nice. They were but they can half drink.
Yeah.
They can half drink, I don't think it touches the sides. Because no sooner than the pints were put on the counter, they were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, drank. And I said, hey, listen, I need serving here. Because they were hard. Well, give us another pint. And I was saying, hang on, I said, I want to try and get served here. Because there was loads of them, about 18, 20 of them, Anyway, got safe finally. I just left them to it then. Me and our friends here, we got off, and as I said, I went down to Marriott. But it was great day and great weather. That was for all the mums. All the mums, and it was great to see them all out, you know.
Yeah.
And no matter what age, you know, from young mums, even like daughters who were taking the mums out. So there was every age of a mum. Yeah. And with the daughters as well, you know. So I thought it was great.
It's a nice day, isn't it?
It is a nice day, especially if the weather's spot on as well. Anyway, we've got some great guests tonight, smashing guests. We've got Jamie. Jamie's be talking later on, just a bit later on, about the paranormal and celebrity paranormal.
The subject is going to be celebrity ghosts.
There you go. And, you know, celebrity ghosts. Well, that's a new one.
Sounds like a good
John
name
O'Hare
for a television programme, that, doesn't it? But it couldn't be a reality one, could it?
No, you'd see through it.
You'd see through it, yeah.
Yeah. More transparent tonight then. The transparency shows right through this show, you know. Anyway, we've got Anthony Brown, world-renowned artist, this fella. Great artist, one of the best. And right here in the studio, if you turn your heads, there's one of his paintings hanging on. Prints. It's a print of one hanging on the wall. And that's the Anthony Brown. Absolutely brilliant. And do you know who I went to see last Thursday? At the Cavern.
Kappa.
Yeah. Do you know what? Absolutely amazing. Yeah. You know, he's got this, like the amazing Kappa band, obviously. And we went down, it was his 50th.
That's right, yeah, it was his birthday, wasn't it?
And, but Bads Wolf are over from Chicago.
Wow.
They came on, and I tell you what, they smashed it.
Did they?
They smashed it. And you know, this Kappa, you know, and the amazing, you know, Laura Gilchrist and and Maria, you know, Maria Allen, you know, she's the bass guitarist, Laura's the drummer, and Kappa obviously, you know, just doing strutting his usual stuff, and brilliant as usual. Then Bads Wolf got up, and the girls, you know, as I said, Laura is the drummer, and Maria the bass guitarist. Yeah. Well, they handed over, you know, everything, because Kappa was still there singing, you know, but they got up and sang, you know, you know, like a backing group. I tell you what, it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. It was amazing.
Good Kappa.
You know, and for me, they did smash it. It was one of the best gigs I've been to in a very, very, very long time. And the acoustics were absolutely amazing, you know. But it was in the Cavern Lounge, which is at the back of the Cavern, not the pub. Right. Because the Cavern's sort of facing, isn't it?
Yeah, so just past they've got like a telephone box in there, haven't they?
Yeah.
And is it that room at the back of there?
Right at the back. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Great PA as well. Great PA system. Anyway, so we've got Anthony, as I said, and we've also got Steve Thompson. And Steve Thompson is a local singer-songwriter. And his brother actually played for Liverpool, Davy Thompson.
Well, is that his brother, is it?
Yeah, that's his brother. Yeah.
Oh, right.
And, you know, he's a great little footballer.
I've seen
him score a cracking goal.
He's been on the phone in for the last couple of weeks as well, after the match.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is nice, you know, to get, you know, like these local celebrities, or local pundits, shall we say, now. You know, giving an expert's eye over, and he doesn't pull any punches.
No, he's passionate lad as well.
Doesn't pull any punches.
But wasn't he involved in the tribute game yesterday?
I don't know.
Saturday, I mean.
Yeah, I know. Real Madrid. I don't know, but Francine went, and she said that. She said half of them could be playing today.
Yeah, she put that. Yeah.
I believe Gerrard was outstanding.
Well, you know, he was only playing last year, don't forget.
Yeah, I don't know, but he still should be playing now.
Of course.
53,000 crowd as well?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd have him in bubble wrap, and I'd just bring him on for the last 15 minutes of every game. I would. I wouldn't have let him go.
I agree. Well, it was Mr. Rogers, wasn't it?
Well, I know that.
Got shot of him. Well, he got shot of a few people, you know what I mean? But less said about him anyway, the better for me.
But Gerrard, I'm only my favourite ever player, Steven Gerrard.
Well, to me, he was, he outstripped Kenny, you know.
He did.
Definitely outstripped Kenny. Because Kenny was in a great side with great players.
Yeah.
He had great players around him. Steven Gerrard, you know, he dragged Liverpool when there wasn't so many great players. Then all of a sudden, when great players came, the likes of Mascherano, the likes of Xabi Alonso, Torres, unbelievable players those. And, you know, we nearly won the league. We nearly won it, you know. We got to another final, the European final, won the FA Cup. So, you know, he was in with great players, but he was still outshowing every one of them, didn't he?
Honestly.
So that's how good he is. And don't forget what Zinedine Zidane said. He's the best midfielder of his generation. And that comes from a man who knows his football.
Who was the best of his generation.
The best of his generation.
Yeah. Louis Figo said, didn't he? And he said he's one of the players he wished he'd played with.
So did Zidane. Zidane said, I would have loved to have played alongside Steven Gerrard. And, you know, that comes from... They mean it. You know, it's not like, you know, he was great, but it's one of those, like, passionate things.
Yeah, they have no agenda when they're saying these things, these players.
No.
It's half-felt and it's true, you know.
Yeah, because there's, you know, you could say, like, he was a great player, this fella, or, you know, smashing player. But to come out and say, you know, that he's one of the greatest and he would have loved to have played alongside him.
Even Frank Lampard has come out and said he's the best midfielder he's ever played against. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's true. So, Frank Lampard was no slouch.
Was he? No. No mug either.
No.
You know, I like Frank Lampard.
Yeah, well, he was a down-to-earth lad, wasn't he? Just an ordinary Cockney lad, you know.
He talked sense.
And he did, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, and we've got Joe Whitaker all the way from Hollywood. So, you know, Joe's there. But what we do have, it's a song, actually. And it's by Emily and Lucy Parry. And it's titled Help Me Please. Now, these are young teenage sisters. And they've written the song after being saddened by the death of a homeless man. And so they got together and they wrote this particular song. And look at the title, Help Me Please. Now you can see people, no matter, you know, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's even in Syria now, you know, because don't forget that the likes of in the Middle East, when we see these refugees, the refugees are homeless.
Yeah.
They're homeless. They've got no homes. I was looking at the news the other day, and this woman, she's just sitting there. She was talking. She had her kids around her, and she said, "A bomb fell on my house. I've got nothing." And there was another fella, and he was talking. He's holding like a young child, and he said, "I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here." I think it was Mosul. He had to get out, and he said, "This is all I've got." And he said, you know, like a T-shirt. Yeah. And he said, "This is all that's my possessions." And I was so sad. But this is the way it is. And the likes of young Emily and Lucy must have been, you know, really, really affected by the death of this homeless man. And they're on our streets. Yeah. It's our streets. There's no bombs falling. There's nothing. And this is the great pity. We're in the 21st century, and there's people. As I said, I brought my daughter out yesterday. I wanted to give her a day out because she's a mum herself, and yet I seen these homeless people, and it was terrible. It was awful, you know. You know, when you've got change, you give it. That's what I do anyway. And there was this fella, and he went, "We got it." I said, "Listen, I've just given it the last one." No, what is it? I had a £2 coin, And I didn't know he had it. So we walked up and he went, sorry, he said, I believe you, you know. I said, I'm sorry, honestly, I've just given it away. Anyway, I was walking away. I found this 2-part. I said, yeah, look at that. I said, I didn't even know he had that. Thought I gave it away. And he gave it me. And he was so overwhelmed.
Made up, yeah.
He said, thanks. He said, is that your last £2? And I went, no. I said, no. I said, I've just got no change whatsoever. I said, I thought I didn't even have that. But, you know, he did feel...
yeah. I've got to say, these girls from Liverpool.
Yeah, should imagine, yeah. And I'm going to have them on in a couple of weeks. All right, that, Jamie? Right? Jason. I've got a cold, and do you know what? I would have blamed the lemsip, but I'd rather have had a cup of tea, so I never has a lemsip. I would have blamed the lemsip getting to me, you know. But I'll be having a lemsip after break when we play 2 songs. But anyway, we're going over to our first guest now. Or I'll be playing a song first. No, right, so... Okay, seeing that he's here looking at me and not waving his arms about. Anyway, we're going over to...
He's shocked here.
No, when he says that,
he thought he had to go into makeup first and all that, you know.
No, I thought he was going to say someone on the radio, you know, on the phone or something like that, because when he says that...
well, this is this big moment now, Jamie.
This is it, mate, you know, this is... okay, you know, celebrity ghost and hauntings and... What's this? Can you tell us more about this, Jamie?
Yeah, well, if John O'Hare would have been kindly here tonight,
yeah.
he dropped me in, he turned around and Jason sent me a message saying, Jamie, we're doing Celebrity Ghost, and I was going, oh dear God, you know, like, yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting one actually, because I mean, Celebrity Ghost to me is the likes of Michael Jackson, the famous one, where when he died, everyone was seeing this ghost walking across. Yeah. As you know, Des, we were talking about it before, and then. You know, they actually worked out who it was. But there's a lot of celebrity ghosts about, isn't there? And there's also the story of the people who bought, what was his name now? James Dean, who when he crashed his car and he was killed. Dean, yeah. And there was all little parts of his cars went into other cars, yeah. And all these other cars had accidents with them. Yeah. There's a lot of strange things.
Can I tell you something
yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
About Jimmy Dean and his, you know, his fatal crash. Do you know who his mate was? Have you any idea who Jimmy Dean's mate was? And he forewarned him. He said, well, because he was over in Hollywood making a film. I'll tell you what it was in a moment. He said, whatever you do, don't go out today. Because he went for him. He said, come in my new car. He said, don't go in it. Do not go in it. Do not go in there. Get out, he said, and come on the set with me. He said, don't get in your car today, please. And he begged him not to go. And he was killed. He foreseen his death. And do you know who it was? Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
And he was making bridge on the River Kwai at the time.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's a good story, though.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Never knew that one.
Well, there you go. So go on, carry on. But
you've thrown me again.
No,
yeah. There's a lot of them, like Lucille Ball, where she lives, the woman who, when she died, they sold a house, and obviously where she did live, the woman who moved in now, well, not now at the time, was saying there's a lot of things that have been happening in the house, and they bring it down to Lucille Ball. There's so many of them, Frank. It's working out which ones are true and which ones aren't true, and is it publicity or is it not publicity? Yeah. As you know yourself, Des.
Are there any local ones, Jamie? Sort of Liverpool or Merseyside based?
There's the Huskinson, isn't there?
The
fellow who was killed and the first man to be killed on the railways, wasn't he?
Yeah, first fatality.
You know, there's supposed to be his near Rain Hill.
And so was, what about Mackenzie, William Mackenzie?
Yeah, the two. Yeah, he's allegedly walking up and down.
Yeah, you know, he allegedly just going down Rodney Street and then coming back and going right into the railings or through the railings and into the pyramid.
Like the Michael Jackson one you've just mentioned, that was actually debunked in the end because it was one of the engineers' shadows or something like
across,
that, wasn't it?
He admitted it, didn't he, the fella?
But are there any that can't be explained?
Well, Harry Houdini, didn't he? Can I come in again? Harry Houdini said, if there's an afterlife, I'll make sure that I'll come back. And he never did he?
Not that we know of. He could have gone to someone who's not told us yet.
Yeah.
That's my way of getting out of it, Frank. But
No, you're right.
there's a lot of I don't know about, there's a lot of theatrical ones, isn't it? If you go down to the Morecambe Winter Gardens, there's supposed to be the likes of the Wisers, the Morecambe and Wise, supposed to, because they were like connected to that one,
right,
you know.
yeah.
And there's things like that, but it's all, a lot of it to me is hearsay, I don't know whether you ever watched the programme, Derek Acora one, where he had Michael Jackson come through. Do you ever remember that one? Have you seen it?
Do you know what? I don't want to say too much, but them shows are a joke as far as I'm concerned.
No, but I mean that was famously put on the TV, and I remember watching it on the night.
Do you know what? I believe he's a good lad as well, but
he's really nice fellow, Derek Acora. Really nice man.
But I look at them shows, and to me, there's just no credibility about them.
No.
And that's just my opinion.
Well, you hear it now. You mean the one what's come out now is Paul Burrell, Princess Diana's
Butler,
yeah. He's turned around and said he speaks to her every night.
Wow.
I mean, these are famous ghosts, I mean, how far do you go into this?
Well, that sounds to me as though Paul needs a few, Bob, to be honest. Because why wait till now?
To say it.
Why wait till now? I think there's an agenda going on there, Jamie, do you?
Well, I think a lot of these, I mean, there's a lot of the celebrity ghosts which I think there is agendas on a lot of them. Because every theatre you go to, they've got the celebrity ghost somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
If you went to, I'm sure if you went to the Empire Theatre or the Epstein and things like that, they've got.
Well, I would say that the Epstein, I know that is haunted.
That has got a good. Yeah.
That is haunted.
In the changing rooms area.
Well, yeah, because I think it was in 1999, Frank, you might remember this. There was a production of Dennis Wheatley's The Devil Rides Out, and the cast were assembled in the afternoon, and they all went into the changing rooms, and when they come out, they have like a run through before the night performance. There was a pentagon drawn on the stage, and nobody knew who did it. No. And that's not a long time ago, 1999.
No.
1995, I think it was.
Yeah,
1995.
Still there, but it's painted over, isn't it? That's the worry.
Is it?
It'll still be painted. Well, if it's drawn onto the thing, they've got to paint it over.
Well, I don't know whether it was in chalk or what, but it's because the Epstein Theatre used to be the Crane Building.
Neptune Theatre.
And
Neptune, yeah.
I think somebody committed suicide there. Well, someone definitely died when it was the Crane Building. Well, what was it before the Crane Buildings, Frank?
There was always the Crane.
It was always the Crane Buildings then. And whoever this person was haunts the backstage area.
Do you know who designed it, by the way? Tell you who designed it. W. Aubrey Thomas, the same fella who designed the Liver Building.
Really?
Fantastic, that,
Yeah. And, the theatre, he said, put the theatre at the top, because it was Rushworths and Drapers as well.
Yeah.
Musical instruments or whatever, and that's what it's always sold.
Yeah.
Always sold. But when they've done it up as the Neptune, not the Neptune, when they've done it up as the Epstein, I think that was a great name to name it, by the way.
The Epstein,
Yeah, I think that's great, that, because, it's funny enough, he was talking about statues and whatever, and I said, well, do you think that they should erect a statue for Brian Epstein? And the thing is, what you got us surprised, he said no, because he was just a manager. Now, how many other managers would say, well, I want one as well?
Yeah,
you would. See what I mean?
Yeah,
it's. But I said, but he brought out the Beatles.
He is a special.
He made
case.
the Mersey era.
Yeah.
It was his sound.
But it's where do you stop? You've got the legendary Alan Williams as well, who's just sadly passed away.
That's what I was going to say as well. He gave the Beatles away, but you can't. I'm not saying. Don't get me wrong. They can build statues for anyone they want, in my opinion. But would you? I think it'd be way down the pecking order. Put it that way.
But getting back to celebrity ghosts. and you'll know probably more about this, Frank, the people that used to live in the Rodney Street area, you know, like Gladstone and stuff like that. Because I remember reading in Tom Slemmon's book, one of his Tom Slemmon's books, and that's the most haunted area in the city. So I'm just wondering if are there any celebrity ghosts around there, you know, the likes of Gladstone or anyone.
Well, that's why we've just mentioned the likes of
Mackenzie.
Yeah. And you know, all right, you look at Huskerson, and Huskerson, albeit that he's like, there's a monument to him in St James's Cemetery, but he lived around the same area. You see what I mean? And you've Sarah Biffin, you know, one of the great little artists in the world. And what Sarah Biffin was, she was born with no arms or legs, and they put her in a freak show.
Yeah.
And the ringmaster took, or the owner of the circus took pity on her, and he seen that she had talent, and he learnt her to paint using a strap on her shoulder with a paintbrush. So she painted with her teeth. See what I mean? You know, obviously the strap on her shoulder was for their balance and things.
Yeah.
And she became one of the most world famous miniature artists.
Amazing. And
the Queen has a loads of her works. And if one comes up, you know, you're lucky enough to get hold of it. Worth a lot of money, as they say. So you could have the likes of her. You could have the likes of Thurston Holland. Thurston Holland, do you know who he was?
No.
Well, I'll tell you who Thurston Holland was. He was one of the greatest physicists ever, and he built an X-ray machine in Rodney Street. He lived in Rodney Street, first of its kind in the world, big X-ray machine. So I have actually, when I did my DVDs, I've actually filmed the buzzer. The buzzer's still there, you know, in this house.
Yeah.
The buzzer, so I pressed it, you know. We did like a little special effects. It was good. You know what I mean? So, you know, celebrities, loads of them.
Yeah.
There is, and the only celebrity ghost you actually hear, you're bringing up that then, Brian, the only celebrity ghost you actually hear is the likes of Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and all the ones that are out there in the media. Not these people who you just mentioned then, who, you know, you'd think that they would come up as well.
Well, you've got the likes of Ishambray Hardman as well from Rodney Street.
Yeah.
And Ishambray Hardman, you've heard of him?
Only from what you've told us.
No, Ishambray Hardman was one of the greatest of all photographers. He was unbelievable.
It's got his museum there, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I've got some of his postcards, you know, with the, you know, photograph postcards, that is. And it's just phenomenal. Now, he was in Rodney Street. You had the likes of William Roscoe.
Yeah.
He was the very first resident of Rodney Street. Did you know that? 1801. And that was the same year that he brought over these exotic plants. So we had the very first botanical gardens in the world in Waverton.
Wow.
See what I mean? And that was the same year that he moved into this house in 1801.
Also, Williamson as well, the tunnel guy.
Yeah.
That's knocked around there, didn't he?
Well, the thing is as well, where he's buried, he got married and buried in St Thomas's Church. Well, that's well gone now.
Yeah. And
where St Thomas's Church was, it was, do you know the Liver car park at the bottom of, it's new. It's the bottom of Duke Street. You know where John Lewis is?
No, yeah, I know, yeah.
Well, you've got a little gardens, and that was where St Thomas's Church was there. They found his body, you know, still interred. Yeah. So, but he still remains there.
He's still there?
Yeah, he's still there. So that's why they built this memorial gardens.
Oh, right.
So it's a smashing
good
little
story.
Yeah, you know, it's So you know, you could. There's loads.
Yeah.
I tell you, you know, hauntings. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologise. Carry on. Yeah.
No, I tell you what should be haunted, if anything. What street? And do you know where it is? The Strand. And now the Strand, not in Bootle, you know the Pierhead.
Yeah.
Because do you know what was there? And there was lots of murders and everything else. But what was there was the officers of the press gang.
Right, okay.
Now, the press gang, what you've got to take into consideration, it wasn't just a matter of bumping people on the head and throwing them on board a ship. Sometimes they became too physical and ended up killing the man.
Yeah.
You know, by hitting them over the head, fractured the skull, banged dead. And just left them then because no one could touch anything. Touch them.
I heard, you probably also debunked this now, but I heard the last reported incidents of press ganging happened in the Baltic Fleet.
Go on, yeah.
I don't know whether that's true or not, Frank. But I also heard that there's a tunnel underneath the Baltic Fleet that leads to the dock. I don't know whether that's true either, but that kind of would make it logical, wouldn't it?
So the thing is, with say the press gang, where you've got tunnels, I'll tell you what they were for, and you can see them actually. You can actually see them. Do you know if you're coming in on the ferry, sometimes you used to see them, right? Yeah. Do you know what they were for? Sometimes they were for smugglers. Yeah. You know, getting the contraband.
I was all told it was for the slaves.
No, that's so pathetic.
I was only told that, Frank.
No. And when you look, let me get this. I've got to say this. There was no slaves ever landed in Liverpool, none whatsoever. I'll tell you for why. It wasn't economically viable. And you've got to take into consideration also with these dopes going around and saying that they've seen the rings in there, you know, the Albert Dock. The Albert Dock wasn't even built, you know, during the slave trade. It was built like 40 years later. So anyway, that's a load of nonsense. And when you get the likes of Lord Chief Justice Mansfield, he said, any slave that if they're ever brought into the country, not just Liverpool, but the country, they'll be free men. They were a commodity. So therefore, they wouldn't have brought them here because it would have been losing value. They would have been losing value.
Well, he just walked, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course. But you get some people, and they're taken in, and I can't believe them, where I've actually stood and listened to a certain person, and I'm going, I don't believe what he's coming out, and people were believing it, and what it was, that one of the stories came, and a slave ship was in the, down at the Pierhead there, and all the slaves one night all ran up Water Street, and jumped on the sanctuary stone here and claimed sanctuary, freedom. Yeah. And I said, I just said this fella there, I was just standing there talking, and he went, is that what happens? And I went, hang on a minute. I said, these Africans can't speak English, for a start. They're in Liverpool. How do they know they're in Liverpool? How do they know where they are? They could be in the West Indies for all they know. Okay, so how would they know about a sanctuary stone in Castle Street? Is this for real? Yeah. And people were believing it. And I thought, I don't believe this. And what else they talk about is, the sanctuary stone. Now, the sanctuary stone, it was real. And people did claim sanctuary. But you know when it ended? The legislation for sanctuary. 1696, 4 years before Liverpool was involved in the slave trade. So it's just blatant make-up story, blatant lies, to be honest. And the sea temperature to get to Liverpool, put it this way, they would have had to sail up the American the eastern seaboard, cross the North Atlantic where ice flows packed, coming down, icebergs and whatever. And the sea temperature below the waterline, even if in the height of summer, would have been below -5 to -15. No chance. Yeah. And to get to Liverpool as well. And who was going to provide for them here? Nobody. You see what I mean? So, no, I'm sorry, no slaves ever landed in Liverpool. If they would have done, they would have been dead of hypothermia. No central heating, bunk beds or anything like that on board those ships. They were little leaky wooden ships, and they were naked in the holds. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
He's going to be the worst heckler ever, hasn't he? If you're on a tour and he's in your audience.
Oh, yeah.
Some beauts, honest, you know.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people listening. They're very disappointed now, you know. But there you
No,
go, that's what it's all about, isn't
But
it?
that's what it is all
Knowing
about.
your stuff, you know.
You know, it's myth.
Well, it's nice hearing the truth and then all the hearsay, because this is what we were saying about, going back to Celebrity Ghost. It's all hearsay. It's only when you hear it first hand that's the best part.
Well, what's your favourite ghost story, Jamie?
My favourite ghost story,
because what I like about you try to debunk everything, don't you?
I try to. Yeah, we try and
that's
look
the
at
genuine
it
side I
sensible.
like
That is the
Jamie.
genuine side of any paranormal activity.
I think when I listen to the ghost stories of other people's, it's interesting, but it's when it happens to yourself. That's when it's they're my favourites when it happens, like, or when we're with someone like when we were at the Lomax with Frank. I think that's one of my favourites is when was that night with Frank when I was telling him, going round with him and telling him, and then it actually happened. That is one of my favourites because it was nice to have that confirmation. But I think I don't have a favourite. I think if it comes up, I mean, we were at the barracks the other night. We were doing an investigation, half an hour there. And I think when things happen, I mean, you threw me on the spot there, thanks, Des. But I don't really have a favourite, because what was your favourite today will be nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean your favourite. I mean, do you find you get yourself talking about a particular incident more often than others? Let's put it that way,
Well, listen, lads, I'm sorry to break in there, but we've got to go over to Auntie Brown in a couple of minutes. But what we want to do, we want to play our local girls, Emily and Lucy Perry. It's Help Me Please. And as I said before, it's about this, they were so dismayed and saddened by the death of this homeless man. I don't know, I'm going to speak to these in a couple of weeks, by the way, so Jason will sort that and we'll have a little chat with these two wonderful girls. But anyway, here's the song Help Me Please by Emily and Lucy Perry.
Listening to Mersey Radio. Mersey Radio. Broadcasting to Merseyside and the world.
Imagine if you could escape right now to somewhere sunny, relaxed and fun-filled. Go on, you know you deserve it. Come to Villanova Park, your first-class holiday park just outside of Barcelona. Villanova Park offers it all with a heated indoor pool, terrace bar, gym and much, much more. Why not take advantage of our winter sun offers and enjoy a self-catering 2-bedroom chalet for 4 from as little as £96 for 3 nights. Escape to the sun this winter. Call our local representatives for special deals on 075 44 393 472. Villanova Park. You know you want to.
Got a special occasion coming up? Need the wow factor? Then look no further than Stevie Mac's Party Shop, the one-stop shop for all your party needs. DJs, balloons, banners, mascot hire, candy floss, popcorn and much, much more. Call 0151 525 0872 or visit our website steviemacs.co.uk.
Is your garden looking tired, untidy, need some help to spruce it up? Why not call AJ Walton Garden Services? Lawns, hedges, jet washing and much, much more. All areas covered. With a special offer of £10 every 2 weeks or £15 every 4 weeks. Call John now on 07474 727 951.
Does your company need to raise its profile? Then why not advertise on Mersey Radio with packages starting from as little as £30 per month. For more details, you can call us on 0151 324 1616 or 0151 324 0600, or you can email advertise@merseyradio.co.uk. The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
Wasn't that absolutely fantastic by Emily and Lucy Perry? Now listen, you know, you can find details to buy the song, which obviously will support the girls and the homeless. And it's on our website, www.frankcarlyle.co.uk. Frank Carlyle, all one word. Do you know what? I gave my, this out once. So all you've got to do is go on www.frankcarlyle, all one word, and he put all one word on. Would you believe that? Frank Carlyle, all one word, .co.uk. Couldn't get you wrong. Why? Oh, anyway. But anyway, Jason, we definitely have them on, okay? In a couple of weeks. So well done, you two, Emily and Lucy. And I'll be talking to you in a couple of weeks' time. And Des will be here to talk to you. And John O'Ware, greatest story and great voice. And
John O'Ware.
John O'Ware.
He'll be asking you some very, very interesting questions.
Very interesting question. And Ian Golder, obviously. Ian will be talking as well to you. So it'll be great. So we'll have you on in a couple of weeks. Emily and Lucy, can't wait to talk to you. And well done, that's a fantastic little song. And well sung, by the way. Well done, you two. Anyway, what we're actually doing now, we're going over. This fella is brilliant. And he's one of the nicest people. Do you know what you say? Isn't he a nice person? Or she a nice person? He is one of those fellas. You know the way you can say, no matter what, like a person wears, they always look good. Put a bin bag on it, they always look good. And you got the person who, like, cracking fella, cracking girl. He is one of those fellas. Know what I mean? Just a nice, gentle man. But he's got a side to him, a great side. He's a big red.
Oh,
well, there you go, you say.
That'll do.
And he's a singer in a little band. He's a good guitarist as well. But his greatest talent lies with his paintings. And I'm very, very pleased to have him on the show. He's been on before. He's a very good friend of mine. Him and Lorraine, his lovely wife. And I bet he brought her out for Mother's Day yesterday. Anyway, it's Anthony Brown. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Frank. Thank you very much. What a glowing introduction. Thank you.
Well, you deserved it. It's one of those wonderful introductions that, I'm very proud to give anyway. And it's all true.
Oh, well, we're good, and Lainey's listening as well, so she's good. Sends her love and respects back, mate.
Oh, thank you. I hope she's doing the ironing. No, I'm only joking, Lainey. I'm only joking, Lainey. I'm only joking.
That's my job. Maybe next March, something like that.
Yeah. It just shows you, doesn't it? Did you go out yesterday?
We didn't. We had a lovely day in the house. I've been. We've been on one work-wise, and it's kind of been hard to distinguish what day is which. But yesterday was special, so the kids, and mainly the kids, organised Mother's Day. They did the cooking, and we had Lainey's mum over as well, and Dad, which was lovely. And we just had family day in the house.
Oh, that lovely.
And it was. I think it does us all good just to take time out from
absolutely
from fussing.
Yeah. So listen, what have you got lines up? Have you got anything special lines up, for the future that you can show the world and us in particular?
We have, Frank. It's been, I would say, life's always a roller coaster, but for the past kind of 12 months, it's been a different kind of thing going on behind the scenes, and there's three major changes in our day-to-day makeup. One of them will be very much in the public eye, if you like, in Liverpool, and I was hoping to be able to talk a bit more about that, but I will say that it's the biggest job I have ever done in my life.
Go on.
And it is a clue for any crossword hunters. It's the size of a street. It incorporates my love and Lainey's love of history. We spent months and months, Frank, in books and in the library researching this particular project. And I've just completed the drawings, and they get presented on Wednesday, and hopefully once that's signed off, it then goes viral, it then goes public. But do you know the way you start out with one idea and then another thing comes on, like buses, wait ages for it to happen. Well, we had that, and we've kind of got this job based in Liverpool, and then we've been approached by a lovely guy who in himself is an artist and was a music icon, not as a performer but as a manager and a background. He signed bands, and he actually worked with some of the major record labels. He is now a digital artist, and he and I are going to be working on a special series of canvases. Do you know the way they work? Bits of picture detailing a life. Well, he's got the ability to embed in the canvas a voice, a song, a snapshot, something other than I can manually put in. Yeah. So what you'll have is not only a biography of the person, you'll have the person talking to you, and it's called augmented reality.
Right.
And for any of the listeners who are listening think, what the heck's that? I had no idea what it was until I researched it. And then and when you see it, augmented reality embeds itself digitally in a work. It can be embedded in many things. And the idea is on an app on your phone or on an iPad, there's a free download of an application called Blipper, and with Blipper you point the device at the canvas in our case, and it comes to life. Literally. Wow. It is absolutely mind-blowing, Frank.
Is it similar? I might be getting this all wrong, but is it very similar to 3D or anything like that? If you know what I mean.
I think it was established quite a few years ago as an educational tool. The way I'm researching it, but it's like if it doesn't work, you view the picture and the picture's it's static, and there's no difference. It's not plugged into any device. There's no DVD with it, anything like that. But once you have the application and you point it kind of focuses in and it brings out all the digital side. Wow. So if you had like the portrait of John Lennon, and you're looking at it, and you see all sorts of bits and pieces in it, and you think that's fine. That's his mum. That's where he was brought up. It's kind of given to him, like the head's portrait, your head's portrait. But then someone clicks on a button and views it, and then there's your voice coming out at them. It would be freaky, and it was when I first saw it. But it's absolutely the most amazing thing. And the minute we start work on it, I would love to get you and Jason into the studio, and I'll show you what's going on.
Yeah, that'd be great, though.
So that came out to the blue. We're planning a Liverpool thing, and then this came out to the blue. And also at the same time as that was a gallery which is now interested in kind of, even at my last age, galleries interested in taking me on and maybe promoting our work up and down the country. So the past few months have just been
roller coaster, as you said.
Yeah, well, it's hard to dream, Frank, and we've always been dreamers, and I've always gone along with the philosophy of we have to imagine something, what it would be like before we get to it. And I strongly subscribe to that idea with children. I think if children are influenced and taught that if they want something hard enough, they work at it and they get the pieces of paper they need, then they will achieve it, they'll do it. Yeah. And there's a recent article in The Guardian, I think it was this week, posted up on Facebook, which basically said that we're all born with this inherent curiosity and this interest in life and things around us, music and everything, and we soak it up like a sponge. And children are like Picasso. All children are born artists, but the problem is that when we get into the education system, it's educated out of us because we're all taught to fit in a box,
I'm no artist, because I always remember when Francine was a baby and she said, will you draw me a monkey? And I went, yeah, okay. And it ended up a big lion. It was a lion. And I said, I only done your art because I like lions. And she was looking very disappointed. I couldn't do a monkey. Could never do a monkey. She was only 19 at the time, Anthony. You know what I mean? So...
but up to the mouths of shooting, Frank, and then if we can retain some of that spark as we grow up, oh man, imagine the things we accomplish. It's brilliant. Yeah. And the question, obviously, the question that we don't ask as adults often enough, and children ask all the time, is why? Yeah. Why? Why this? Well, Britain is now in this. Why? We lose it. We're taught to mind our place, hold our tongue, just wait till it happens. Yeah. I would rather go with the children. Draw me a monkey, not a lion.
I'll tell you what, though, Anthony, what you've been talking about seems very, very exciting. Have you?
Yes, Frank. Yeah.
Have you got any? Have you got a date for this particular thing, or when it's going to be launched? Or
it all seems to be. There's a press release going out within a day or two about the about our Liverpool involvement, right. And the gallery and the augmented art thing is set to kick off in July of of this year. So, but obviously before July, there's a lot of work to do. We're trying to establish a good working studio and just to stay in the city. So we're working on that at the moment.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you're always keeping the local team as well, which is fascinating for me. As a historian, I love anything local. It's just like two young girls, Emily and Lucy Perry. Seeing the death of an unfortunate, homeless person, and they wrote a song about it. Absolutely brilliant. So anything local, I'm absolutely all for it, 100%, as you know, Anthony.
Well, me too, and you're never too old to learn. In fact, it's a fascination to listen to your show and you hear a bit of snippets of information and you go away. Well, this project has led us to a man that sadly I didn't know about, and I feel totally embarrassed that I didn't know about. And he's an artist called Herdman.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a father and son. He's a father and son, W.G. Herdman.
That's the one, Frank. Honest to God, the stuff that I've learned from
absolutely
looking at that
brilliant.
man.
I'll tell you what, Anthony, I'm made up you're doing something like that. I'll tell you for why. The likes of these two lads, father and son, it's a pictorial of the history of Liverpool. It's a pictorial. Yes. Without their works, Liverpool would have been... You wouldn't know nothing about the old Liverpool. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you are so right. I mean, Laney and I had come across a drawing of his in our research for this project, and on the internet, and there's bits and pieces floating around. And incidentally, Colin Simpson, the main guy from Williamson Art Gallery over in Birkenhead, gives talks on Mr. Herdman. But we had the kids with us one weekend, and there was a car boot sale in Port Sunlight, so we took the kids, and then as we got there, they're packing up, obviously not been a very good day, and there was a lady with books, and she was packing up books, and there was one book left on the table, and Lainey was drawn to it, and she picked it up and flicked it open on a page, and said to the woman, can I buy this book? And the woman said, of course. So we gave the woman, it was a £5, and it was a condensed version of Herdman's watercolours, and in amongst the pictures, if you can imagine a picture of the street, and I forget the name of it now, but it was there before it was demolished to make way for Victoria Street. Yeah. He's catalogued all his buildings, and he's put the dates and the churches.
That's right.
And the thing that blew me away was that the windmills were throughout the city.
Yeah, Lime Street. Do you know, next door. Can I tell you something? It's only a little bit of a snippet of history, actually. He's done one of Shaw's Brow, which later became William Brown Street.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you see a windmill there, but it's not in... it's the windmill is actually like broken up, put it that way. But the windmill, nevertheless, is there, right? And what stood on the... when that was demolished, and opposite St George's Hall is the wonderful Walker Gallery, right? That stands there because you've got the Walker Gallery and the Sessions House, and that little street there separating the two of them is called Mill Lane, hence the mill there, right? However, before they demolished it, when you're looking at Herdman's painting, you see a pub. Now get onto this. This is brilliant. You're going to love this, Anthony. There's a pub, and it's called the Assizes. Yeah, it's called the Assizes. And why it's called the Assizes? It's a nickname, you see. It's a nickname. Because when they was doing public hangings, people used to go in, just like pre-match and post-match, you know, in the pub, and they used to have a bet. You know, will he go kicking and screaming, or will he go to the... and they used to have a bet. So they just called it the assizes because they used to talk about he's guilty. No, he's not guilty, and I don't think this fella's done it or this lady's done it or whatever. You see what I mean, Anthony? So they called it the assizes.
Yeah. Well, one of them, maybe you and the guys could verify. One time I heard that the actual William Brown Street was built as a walkway or a class entrance into the city.
That's right.
In the days where it wasn't Shaw Street and stuff.
It was Shaw's Brow. It was led from Shaw Street down. Don't forget, what you had there was the Collegiate. And only the posh fellas like yourself could go to them places, you know.
that Walker Gallery, Frank, the guy, that's named after the guy who had the big house. He put the big house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walker.
Walker, his name was Walker.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Big brewer.
And in fact, the big house itself now is one of the only, I think I'm right in saying, one of the only pubs in Britain with its own art collection.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. George Stubbs is there as well.
Yeah. Wasn't the big house taken over by Robert Kane?
Yeah,
eventually it was. Yeah.
Do you know who built the? There's something for you, Anthony. Talking about pubs. Do you know who built it? The Vines, the big house.
No.
I'll tell you who built it, and he also designed and built the Crown on the opposite corner of Lime Street.
He did. And I know another one he did as well. I'm trying to think of his name. He done the coffee house in Wavertree.
Okay, he did indeed.
Yeah.
And he also designed and built the Philharmonic pub.
That's he did, yeah.
And what did you say that? The Philharmonic dining rooms, yeah.
And his name is Samuel Thomas. And the point of it all is that he only designed. He was Kane's architect, and someone said to him, "Do us a favour, will you build us a store?" And he went, "I will, all right then." And he designed this store, one of the most famous store. Well, it is, I reckon, the most famous store besides Marx's, where Anthony gets his stuff. Well, Lorraine gets it, not him. Know what I mean? Anyway, he actually designed and built the only store he ever built, T.J. Hughes.
Wow!
And I look at that. I love looking at the architecture.
When you look up in that, they've all got a common denominator, haven't
they? They have indeed. And there's another architect who, when you look at these buildings, when you look at the. Do you know the old Albion House, which was the White Star? Now it's a hotel. The striped one. Well, Richard Norman Shaw designed that, Anthony. And he had his underling or his fledgling was going to become one of the great architects. And his name was Francis L. Doyle, like a Liverpool Irish lad. And when you see little domes on the side of any building and stripes, you know that it's Francis L. Doyle. You see what I mean?
So
and I'll tell you where. And I'll tell you one of his buildings that you see these domes. It used to be a bank on the corner of Moss Street. You know, up by the Royal Infirmary.
Oh
there.
Yeah.
So you see the little domes there, and also the big gold dome, which is gold dome building, which was an insurance building on the corner of North John Street and Dale Street. And it's a hotel now. And you've got little domes there.
It's been knocked down now, Frank, but you remember Cooper's?
Yes.
Wasn't there a feature similar to that on that building?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah,
very much so. Anyway, Anthony, we've got to leave it because we've got to go over. I'm sorry, I took away your tons there, mate. That's
you. Not at all. You've accelerated me, Thunder Frank. It's been a pleasure talking, and I'm glad I'm working on something that connects with yourself in history.
Absolutely.
I will be so proud to get you and Jace in to see what's going on before anyone else gets to see.
Oh, thanks a lot. Can Des comes out?
I want to say, what about me?
Yeah, Defo.
Oh, brilliant.
All
I'll bring that.
All right, we'll all come then.
And John Ware's a greater story in as well, you know, and he'd love it, John. He can't be with us tonight, unfortunately. But it'll be absolutely fantastic to see you and Lainey again anyway.
Well, that's great. Well, we'll make that happen as soon as we can then, Frank.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Anthony. And again, you know, obviously we're going to ask you to come on again and you can tell us all about the great success of it all. And I'll tell you what I'll do, when you'll have us down, you'll have to come on, or we can do a little bit of recording, whatever, and we could go, wow. Is that okay with you?
I'd love to. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anthony, and love to Lainey and all the broods and everybody else. Okay.
Thank you, Frank. All the best again. Yeah, thank you. Mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Bye. Well, that was, isn't he? Is it? I told you, didn't I? Yeah. He's a lovely, lovely man. He's a lovely man. I don't half like him. He is, and I'm just so proud to call him a friend. Anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little break. We're going to have a double header. And this is by Blood, Sweat and Flesh Bone by Steve Thompson. And We Didn't Start the Fire. And it's like an uptake on The Bosses, isn't it? It's Bruce Springsteen's Didn't Start a Fire. I'm useless.
Billy Joel.
No, Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I was going to give you the song there, but I'm dying of cold. Anyway, look at the face on him when I said that.
Give us an Elvis, Frank.
Oh, behave yourself now. Yeah, I see that it's taking the mic. Anyway, and we'll be talking to Steve later on, right after this. Blood, Sweat and Flesh and Bone by Steve Thompson and We Didn't Start the Fire. Can't wait for these, actually.
Listen to Mersey Radio wherever you are, on air, online and on your phone. www.merseyradio.co.uk. Whatever you're up to this Sunday, whether it's the DIY, the housework, or you're cooking up a storm in the kitchen, tune into the Sunday Show with Gary Reddin, 2 till 4 every Sunday for the soundtrack to your Sunday, here on Mersey Radio. For the best signed and unsigned artists, tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. for WWK Signed and Unsigned with Billy Kelly.
Getting out of bed, rubbing your eyes in the morning, going downstairs and having a cup of coffee. Is that how you start your day? No. What you need to do is open your eyes, lean over, switch your radio on, and listen to The Big Breakfast, Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. Getting you out of bed in a different way. Jason Scott.
The Big Breakfast.
Right here on Mersey Radio.
The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
Wasn't that absolutely fantastic? Well done, Steve Thompson. I loved that, you know. I really loved that. And where it's then Bob Dylan, David Brennan, Never Trust the Government, Amazon, Netflix, Justice for the 96. Brilliant.
Very nice, Frank.
Brilliant. And I've got me cold. Should I retain the colds and stuff? Yeah, I can imagine, you know. But I think I thought that was wasn't that fantastic? The lyrics of that, wasn't that fabulous? Absolutely fabulous. And do you know what? When I was talking to Anthony Brown there before, and you know those two young girls as well, little Emily and Lucy, you know, writing the song, and as I said to Anthony, everything's local. Everything is local. You know what I mean? And he got hold of these like books. He didn't even know that these men existed. And he only had to ask me if there's any. That's all it. But this lad, you know, Steve Thompson, another local talent. And look at that, what he's done.
I know.
The take on it. So anyway, have we got it? Oh, yeah, he's ready. He's already waiting for us. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Frank. You all right?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'll tell you what. I'm highly impressed there because I've got the lyrics in front of me, and obviously you've done that, haven't you yourself? You've written this.
Yeah, I threw that together. I thought it was it's been like 27 years since Billy Joel put that out, and I thought there's been a lot happening in the last 27 years. So I don't know. I was just watching the news, and I don't know why that tune popped in my head, but I just suddenly put the first line together in my head, and I thought, I'm going to write a verse, and then ended up about 6 verses.
I think it's brilliant. I think you've done everything, and I mean, and there's a few little ones where you mention Trouble at the BBC, Messy Tax Judge with Alonzo's in Bloom. Now, people won't know Alonzo in Bloom because it's Alonzo Bloom, isn't it? The great actor, by the way. I don't half like him. He's a great actor. Son of Claire Bloom. You know what I mean? It's so clever. It's very... I love clever things. I love clever things. It's like a film. You know that... say like Sixth Sense, for example. Very clever film. Yeah. And the others, very clever. Very, very clever. And I like clever things. And this, my friend, Steve, is brilliant. Very, very clever. Well done.
Thank you very much.
You get my award for the best thing I've heard all year. Well, last year as well. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Made up with that. And I love the Justice for the 96 where you ended on that. Well done, mate.
Do you know, it all just seems to flow, and the ironic thing is, because it's been like 27 years since that song was out, 27 years is a long... it's a long time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a hell of a lot has happened, and to think that the families have been fighting for justice for that time, 27 years, do you know what I mean?
We're still fighting for it though, really, aren't we? Because
you're still fighting. You're still fighting for it. I mean, they're halfway there, but they're still fighting for it. But to think that...
No, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. To think that they've had to fight for 27 years, for, you know, to get justice for the victims and the, you know, and the survivors and the families, and the amount of things that have happened in this world since then. Do you know what I mean? And during that time, and 27 years is a hell of a long time. It doesn't sound like it when you say it, but when you look back at the things that have happened, and you think them poor families have had to go through that for that length of time, it was. Basically, you couldn't really finish that song on any other line, in my eyes, to be honest. So,
and yet, you know, you've got a hell of a lot of tragedies here, haven't you? Hurricane, tsunamis, you know, 9/11, 7/7, terrorist cell. Yeah. You've got loads of it. You've got loads of it.
And that's what I mean, and that's all since 1989, since that Billy Joel released that record. And you know what, you could have gone on for another 9 or 10 verses, the things that have gone on in this world. It's quite ridiculous. I mean, Billy Joel, when he originally wrote the song, he had centuries to reach back on, like, but I thought I'll try and see what's happened in the last 27 years, and I couldn't believe the amount of things that were just popping in my head, you know. And like I say, could have went on for another 6 or 7 verses, to be honest.
And you know what? You know, everything that's there. You even mentioned Nigel Benn.
Yeah.
Nigel Benn, you know. It's fantastic. I didn't even think that you knew Nigel Benn or knew of him.
Oh, no, well, we grew up, you know, when we never had all the Sky channels and everything. And there used to be big boxing matches on, didn't there? And I remember the likes of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank and Frank Bruno and all them. You know, they were massive events back then. Yeah. And now you've got, like, big fights on every week now, haven't you?
Yeah, well, this is it, But, you know, I love everything. Where you've got, like, Phonax, Duff Beers, Big Max, Gaz's Tears, Sepp Blatter on a platter, Syrian Hell. You know, it just puts everything in perspective.
Yeah.
Because I was only talking about Syria before, you know, with the homeless people, because they are, that's what they are, Steve, you know, homeless.
It is. We can't really imagine what's going on over there, and I don't want to get political on any of it, because, you know, I don't feel like that's my place, because it's far, I think it's far too complicated now the whole mess. But it must be hell to imagine being a kid over there.
Well, listen,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Growing up and knowing no difference. Oh, it's ridiculous. I can't imagine places.
I was looking at a news report. I don't know whether it was Saturday or today. I don't know. I'm always looking at news reports, but not the mainstream news reports. I go to different channels, get a different perspective, and you see these kids, little Syrian kids, where they've stuck in Mosul, and they've just been freed, and all as they were taught by ISIL, and these are children, these are like 6 and 7, and all as they were taught hate. That's all. Hate. And machine guns and decapitating. This is how you decapitate you know, and I didn't realise, but nearly every day there was decapitations, public decapitations.
Radicalised them as soon as they can start school.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. This is one of the greatest, I don't know, like, shall we say, inhumane things to teach these kids like that. I tell you, I'm sorry, I've got to come back to this wonderful thing. You've got REM, love them, and
me too.
Now Lemmy's gone. That's absolutely fantastic, because I actually seen Lemmy when he was with Hawkwind. We had a boxing stadium, as you know, here in Liverpool. First purpose built in the country, by the way. Anyway, I went to see them and Hawkwind and Mott the Hoople. I hope you remember them, you know, Mott the Hoople.
Of course I do.
Oh, God, I'm glad, because sometimes I mention a group, you know, sort of bands, and they go, who's that? Or even a film star. They go, who's that? Yeah. I mentioned Jane Fonda once, and they go, who's that? You know, it's terrible. No. But, you know, Lemmy's gone. I'm just coming in here. With Lemmy's gone. He was the first on the show that it was like, you know, Lemmy's gone. And I gave a little tribute to him, and we played Silver Machine, you know, Walkwind. Yeah, anyway, after that, it was a knock-on effect. Yeah. Everyone, it seemed nearly every week that I was paying tribute. Yeah, just a year ago, last Christmas it was. Yeah, with Lemmy. But it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic what you've done. I can't get over it.
I mean, even in 2016, the amount of people, like, you know, celebrities that we lost, you could have wrote another song there with all them.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, of course.
It was a ridiculous year last year.
Oh, it was mad. Honest, but, like, you've got David Bowie there, haven't you? You've got
David Bowie, yeah.
You know, but you've got Winehouse as well, Amy Winehouse. And
I also gave a nod to the new generation of music. I mean, Catfish and the Bottlemen. Yeah. They, I think it was only about 4 years ago, they were playing in the Lomax in Liverpool to about 20 people, and then 3 years later they picking up a Brit Award for the best newcomer. You know, it's amazing how time changes so quickly. And, you know, look at the way the world's changed now in 27 years. Yeah, unbelievable. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what have
you? I don't know what it's going to be like.
Well, I know. You could go on all year about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's happening for you in your future?
At the moment, so I've got the 5-song EP coming out on Friday.
Right. Where can we get hold of that?
It's just going on iTunes and, you know, all the download sites for now, and then I'm gonna put the CD out at the end of April. Right. I've just got some more good news recently. We've got we wrote a song with the band that I'm in, you know, the Incidents, and I wrote a song that was early, not last year, 2015, and that got picked up for a film in America. Yeah. So that film's coming out in April, and it's also been picked up by another film now, which is being shown in Cannes in April. So getting a few songs in film now. So
not zombie films,
I'm enjoying that.
They're not zombie films, are they? I don't watch them. I don't like watching the zombies. That's great. That's Steve. Yeah.
No, Yeah, well, that's I've been plugging away for years, and you take your knocks and never get disarmed because I enjoy it. Yeah. So you see people doing things and getting disarmed by them and turning away from them, and that.
Yes.
You should never do it to try and get success. I think if you do something and you love it, and if you get any success with it, that is a bonus.
That's brilliant.
You just got to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Steve,
yeah, but it's whet my appetite now to get some more songs in film. But if it happens, that's great.
Steve,
if it doesn't, I'll still enjoy it.
Steve, it's Des Flanagan. You're right, mate.
Are you all right?
Sound, mate. Thanks. Did you any writing for anyone else, Steve?
I've collaborated with a DJ in Sweden on like a dance tune. As I don't know whether you know Sean Mashadod, the boxer.
From
the Whittle.
Yeah.
Well, I used to play football with him, and it was only going back about 8 years, and he wasn't boxing back then.
Yeah, he was a late starter, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was a late starter. Yeah. So when I packed in playing football, he was still playing football, and the next thing you know, I bumped into him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm boxing now," and then. About 2 years later, he's boxing pro, and then he's boxing for the title.
That's right. I've seen his last 2 fights. He's a good lad. He's come on. Yeah.
Oh, and he's a lovely lad, and he's so down to earth, so humble. So I took a bit of inspiration from him to write this song with a DJ fella from Sweden. He had some music, so Mash's fight was coming up. So I just took the inspiration, and it's called All You Got, and it's just about giving everything that you've got. Yeah. If you want to try and achieve something, you've got to give it everything. And, if you get there, you get there. If you don't, at least you can look back and say, I gave it everything, I gave it all I got. Yeah. So I think that song's being used on a documentary about Masha. So, that's good.
That's what made me ask the question, because I think you're a sound lyricist, And,
I'm a what?
Yeah, a very good lyricist. Yeah, what do you think I said?
I do.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy putting, throwing words together as part of the music. It's you listen to some music and they just throw any words in there, and sometimes they sound like nursery rhymes. But I like to try and tell a bit of a story. You've got to tell a story, haven't you? I think, when you're putting words to songs. So, I enjoy that bit as well.
No, I think, especially this one that we're talking about now, it's brilliant. Just reading it, actually. It's great.
As I said, I think you've struck a great chord with us here, because I've just been, as Des has been talking to you, and I've just been going through it again. It's absolutely brilliant, mate. It's so unusual, but true. It's right there. It's everything. You've even got the Teletubbies. The Teletubbies, it's fantastic.
27 years.
Steve, how long did that take you to write?
To be honest, it only took 2 days.
Yeah.
When I was just going over things. Basically, the first verse came together, and then I started like picking things out. You know what I mean? Memory about from what I remember through life, growing up. So it was just things that stuck out. So if someone else was to sit down and write it, they'd probably pick out a load. They probably pick a lot of them things out, but they pick out their own little memories as well.
That's right.
So
do you know what though? You've got a Bastille Day there as well.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you something about that? Do you know, like, it was 1789 anyway, the French Revolution, and when they charged the Bastille, because they were like, there's all us in there, get them out, so they all charged there. Do you know how many people were in there, prisoners?
How many?
1.
1?
Yeah, 1. Did you know that? And they couldn't find the key. She where's the key? I can't find it. Can you get me? I'll come back for you later, mate. So that was it. How about that then? It's mad, isn't it?
How many did you think were in there, Frank?
Loads.
Yeah?
I do know, where are they all? There's only that old fella down there, you know, in the cell. Anyway.
Crazy.
But it says, so listen, you know, have you got any gigs coming up that you could tell us about?
No, I haven't got anything planned for the immediate future, like, but when the summer comes along, I'll be getting back out there. So, yeah, I just took a bit of a break just from playing live, just so I could get some recording done and, you know, gather my thoughts and stuff.
Well, what we'll do, you know, I think that's great, this song. We're going to have a tribute night. Won't tell you who it is yet, but it's sometime in May, okay?
Yeah.
And this is going to be very big, massive it's going to be, that's all I can tell you, massive. And would you open up at this, you know, that
Yeah, of course I would.
That's great, that.
That'd be great.
That's fantastic, that. Because we're only having 3 bands on.
Yeah.
We're only having 3 bands on. And we're having, you know, talking and everything else. So we're going to change it around a bit. And it's going to be great, but I'd love you to do that particular song.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring some CDs
no
along as well, you know, Steve.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Is that all right with you? And get your kids down, get David down as well.
Yeah, I'll get him to come down. He can be my backing singer.
No, he can do a keepy uppy. Can't he, behind you as you're singing there? So he'd be alright doing that.
Yeah, probably not as many as he used to be able to do, but
well, there you go. And tell him Jared Zulier won't be there, that's for sure.
Oh, no, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Keep writing, Steve. Don't take a break from the writing, mate. You've got to keep writing.
No, I never do. What I do is I get so many things in my head and so many songs, and I have to get them all down. I have to record them just so I can move on to the next thing. Otherwise, I tend to keep going over and over and over. So the release is to get them recorded. Yeah. Once they're recorded, I feel like I've done that chapter now. I can move on to the next chapter. Yeah. So I'm always pushing myself in that way. Like so. Yeah, but I look forward to coming and opening in May for you.
That'll be brilliant. So we'll be in touch with you there, Steve, okay?
Excellent. All right, Frank. Great to speak to you all as well.
Listen, you'll have to come on again because I think you're a very fascinating man. You really are.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks very much.
Brilliant.
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
No, I'm made up with that. So anyway, speak to you soon, David. I'm sorry, that's your kid. I'll speak to you soon, sir. Oh, yeah, I'm taking lemon sip and everything. You've got to have some sympathy for me, you see. But anyway.
All right, I'll speak to you soon, Frank.
Speak to you soon. Thanks, Steve, mate.
All right, man, no problem. Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra. Well, that was the great Steve. What do you think of that? Isn't he a nice fella?
He is a nice lad, yeah.
Isn't he a nice fella?
I think his writing's great.
It is great.
He should write for other people as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely, but he puts everything's gone into that, everything, you know, even poor Greeks, you know, because, you know, when the banks just crashed and they had to borrow and they had to pay us all back.
Last year, the year before.
Yeah. Last year they were going on. And a lot of tourists don't go there now. But there's a couple of things, you know, why don't you? Because they were flooded with the refugees, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah.
So, and they were in the resorts. They just said, you know, people just stopped going, and that's the downfall.
And when you start losing your tourist economy, you're on your way out, you know.
Yeah, because they had to put a lot of things up as well.
Yeah,
because of the euro. Anyway, what we're going to do, I was playing a song. We're going to play a song. How about that? And we're going to play Chuck Berry, aren't we? I'll be playing Chuck Berry. Am I right? That's what I was a script. But I want to mention Mo. Got to mention Mo.
Hi, Mo.
Mo's down in Essex. She's home from the States because she has a daughter who lives in Florida.
I wonder if she got us any rock.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
and if she hasn't, she can go down to Brighton and get some Brighton rock.
Brighton rock, yeah.
Because she's not far from there. Or to Southend-on-Sea. Yeah. So, Mo, next time you're up, bring us some rock back.
Get some rock.
If not, we'll kick your heads in, as we say up here in Liverpool. But, no, we won't. We'll be just happy to see you. Anyway, we'll have Joe Whitaker on after this wonderful song by Chuck Berry, and it's Big Boys. Now, don't forget that Chuck. Oh, I've got to mention a couple of birthdays, and it's Paul Burke. Paul's a regular listener.
Happy birthday, Paul.
And Paul Frost. And
Happy
Paul
birthday,
Frost
Paul.
is, he's a photographer, and you know him, don't you? Do you remember the lads who was going around the Lomax?
Lomax, yeah.
And he takes wonderful photographs of all Liverpool. Big buildings, people, streets, you name it, Paul takes them. Great fella, nice fella, love him. And the gas explosion over in Wirral, Wirral.
Yeah.
What was all that about?
It was a new ferry, wasn't it? Yeah. Bevington.
And Ronnie Moran.
Yeah,
Great, legends. Rennie, Ronnie. Pete Shotton. And he was the washboard player with the Quarrymen. And he was a great friend of John Lennon. And he passed on, unfortunately. And the 4-year-old little Violet Grace hit and run in St. Helens, and she died on Saturday. 4 years of age. 4 years of... Same age as my granddaughter.
I went past today.
Terrible.
Flowers everywhere.
Terrible, I can't even imagine what's going on through that woman's mind, the parents' mind. I'm sorry there. And obviously the Westminster attack, absolutely horrendous, so we had to mention these. And it's just so, it's just bloody awful, to be honest. I'm sorry to swear, but you'd have to say this when something like that happens. Anyway, here's Big Boys by Chuck Berry, and then Joe Whitaker.
Listen to Mersey Radio wherever you are, on air, online, and on your phone. www.merseyradio.co.uk. If you like classic rock, tune into Will Meadows, Saturdays at 8 p.m. for the best in classic rock and great guitar music. For all your around-the-world sports news, tune into Neil Garner every Monday at 10 p.m. on Mersey Radio. The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
So that was Chuck, working on his new album, aged 90, and it's going to be released posthumously, obviously. So, that was the great Chuck, but love Chuck.
Pretty impressive, 90 years of age there.
90 years of age. And, he sounded like a young man, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just sounded like a young man. And what we're going over to the one and only Joe Whitaker. And Joe is our Hollywood correspondent there in sunny California, just like sunny Liverpool today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So listen, Joe, are you there?
I'm certainly here, and I'm glad to hear it's sunny in Liverpool. How lovely.
It's fantastic. We're all running around with shorts on and everything else.
You are?
No, not really.
I'd like to see
Only
that.
Des.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, you wouldn't like to see me in my shorts. You'd be swooning everywhere. Are you there, Joe?
She swooned.
No comment.
She swooned.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, I thought you
I'm here.
Hey, listen, Joe, I was talking to a lady yesterday. I took my daughter out for her Mother's Day, and I was having a few beers. Now, get on to this. I was talking to a lady who lived in LA for 30 years, and she came back to Liverpool.
Wow.
Was it 40 years? No, 40 years. And she's just returned back to Liverpool last week.
Oh my goodness.
Did she say
I always
why?
say I'll always come back.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? And she's...
Absolutely. When I'm ready, I'm coming back to Liverpool, I want to be around my family when I retire.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got years
So I
to
can
go
annoy
then.
them.
I'll be well and truly gone by then,
Yeah.
Joe. I might have to come over
Yeah.
to you.
Well, hello. The invitation's always here.
I know that. I know. I'll tell you what, Joe, and I'm seriously thinking of this. I might come over around August, September.
Date.
Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
We can do a show.
That's
from here
great.
for sure.
That'll be fantastic. Do the show from over in LA. Oh, who else could say that? Who else could say doing a show from LA?
Joe.
Oh, yeah. have to bring Jason with me. I can't swiddle the knot.
Hey, Jason, you're invited too. Don't let him, come with him. He's getting old. He needs you to look after him.
I've got a pair of Speedos as well,
Oh, this is great, isn't it? But anyway, Joe, you want to talk about the death penalty, don't you?
Yeah, in fact, I think the BBC were running with a story about Dr. Alan Holt, who was he was the correcting commissioner at the U.S. state of Georgia. So it was his responsibility to press the button, and it was very interesting how honest he was on how he felt about that. And it was very liberating in a way, because he's become to be a big ambassador for, getting rid, a campaigner against America's use of the death penalty. And in his eyes, he felt like a murderer himself. He said his words were this: it's like the most premeditated act of all murders. And he said, and I had that response. That's what I had to do.
Wow.
I haven't heard that phrase before, but that's a good phrase after that, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's a harrowing phrase, though.
It is, yeah.
And so, don't they have the lethal injection there in Georgia?
The Georgia was the electric. It's a quick snap over 15 seconds. Wow. I mean, to see this guy give this, it was a hard talk interview on BBC, and they say it was the most open hard talk they'd ever experienced. To see this guy's face, and to see him in real time too, because he was doing a campaign here in LA against the death penalty. He went on to discuss being the commissioner in Georgia and this boy, who was 17 years old, juvenile, with borderline mental impairment. He went on to be on death row for 17 years. Now, he watched this troubled youth. He went on to get an education within the system. His brain developed and he matured. And his last words were, when he switched the switch for this young boy, who is now an adult, was, "Please forgive me." He said, "I'd never seen anyone so remorseful and corrected." And his agony was, this is a juvenile. His brain hadn't even matured. How could he be made responsible for crimes where, he hadn't even developed? And he had a mental retardation as well. And
that's the shame, isn't it? Because you do get young offenders who commit these crimes, because no matter how you grow up, even yourself and the people in here, we were always boisterous, albeit that we never went out of our way to do some serious damage, but we were always boisterous. We were a little cheeky and anything and everything else. But as you said, Joe, you haven't fully developed, but there is demons out there, to be honest. There is demons. You've only got to look at the Bulger case, for example. Those
Absolutely.
2 young lads, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were evil.
But the difference is they knew the difference between right and wrong.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And it sounds as though this kid might not be the case with this kid, Joe.
No, he wasn't. He already had a mental impairment, and after 17 years of therapy and education, and he saw this chap, he just developed. And what can I say when you talk about the Bulgar and Liverpool? It's very different circumstances, and yes, they knew. Of course, they knew. But it's a very fine line. I mean, just this in LA, just a few weeks ago, someone was wrongly convicted of murder for over 33 years. Now, he was found to be innocent. He could have been, put on the chair, taken out, and this guy just got released, innocent. So.
Yeah, but there's lots of people like that, even in this country. there was a very famous murder case called the Cameo Murders, and both the manager and the assistant manager was shot dead, and they nicked a fella and they hanged him named George Kelly, and he always protested his innocence, and he's saying, I'm fitted up here, I'm fitted up. In 2006 he was completely exonerated from those two murders, so he was innocent. So, you know, it does happen even in this country.
Well, I know someone very well that happened to, you know, and he ended up serving 8 years.
Yeah.
And he was innocent. They had to let him out, and you know.
It is a crying shame. It's just horrible, you know, to be incarcerated when you haven't done, you know, you haven't done anything. Yeah, and it's so easy, you know, to be in the wrong place at the right, well, you know what I mean. Yeah. And you just picked up, and bang, you go to jail.
Absolutely, it was a very fine line. I don't know if you guys remember, especially in England, the Metropolitan Police, they went through quite a shake-up back in the 80s, where a lot of people were wrongly convicted. You know, testimonies were made false. You know, people, false witnesses, and the Metropolitan Police. You know, they have now we have a lot of legislation, a lot of paperwork before someone can actually get convicted. Here in America, we haven't gone through that process. LA is the most corrupt police force, and Georgia is very much far behind. It's very much in equal standing, and it needs to be fixed out here. I mean, crime is up, murderers are up, and the system is totally not looked after in the correct fashion. I mean, it's awful what's happening here in America. Equally, no one should be held responsible for a crime they didn't commit. I mean, people are innocent, and fortunately people do die innocent.
Yeah. It's I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I was reading up about different countries and the death penalty or executions, you know, that they call it, and the States really pales into insignificance when you look at other countries. I think there was about between 20 and 30 last year, Joe, in the States.
Executed, you're talking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but in China, it's over 1,000.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Over 1,000 people got executed.
Well, the thing is, it happens every week in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. But even
every
that was
Friday.
300.
Yeah. But, you know, it's still, nevertheless, it's still a horrible thing.
It is.
I'll tell you one of the worst. I seen just a couple of things. One, when in Spain, their death penalty is one of the worst, because what they used to do, they used to sit them in a chair and garrote them. Just a horrible death, you know, just a wheel behind their head and just garroted them. And the other one, I seen this fella being interviewed. I think it was on the BBC, I'm not quite so sure, and he was the French equivalent of the top executioner here in England. It was he was just talking about this guillotine. He was just saying it as it was. He's just saying it.
Matter of fact,
it's a matter of fact. You know, and how could you? And he said, people get the wrong idea that when they're executed, that they're just put on a board face down. He said no. He said they're facing upwards. They're looking at the thing coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite an audience as well in front of them.
And you know what they did as well? They used to pick their heads out the basket and hold it up, and their eyes are looking around. Because they're not brain dead.
The nerves are still there.
But they're not brain dead. And we've only got a minute. Oh, Joe.
Oh, well,
great.
You know, what we have to. I know, it's very interesting guy, very interesting story, and yet a very in-depth conversation, maybe for another time, but very interesting indeed.
Okay, so let's come up with another topic for next week. You know, just have a look, whatever you want to, talk about anything. Because that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay, and
American politics as it is now, a lot of things are changing, so it is always good stuff.
You wouldn't Coco. You wouldn't Coco. It's mad, isn't it, Joe?
It certainly is, sir, and it's always a pleasure here from Hollywood.
Oh, well, we had a Steve Thompson on before. He's a singer-songwriter, and it's got here, he's just sang this song, and we've got the lyrics, and it says, George Bush, Tony Blair, Donald Trump, strange hair. That was the first thing.
It was a take on the Billy Joel song, Joe, you know.
Can't start a fire, you know. Anyway, Joe, it's been absolutely wonderful as usual.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Peace and love from Hollywood.
Thank you so much.
On the website with the record, the song.
Okay, yeah. We'll be on our website anyway.
Yep.
Joe, thank you so much. I love you all the world and everything else, and we'll speak to you next week.
You got it. Peace and love.
All right, see you, Joe.
Bye, Joe. Bye. So that was Joe. All I have to do now is Frank Carlyle here at Mersey Radio. Got to thank special guest tonight, Jamie Williams, the paranormal fella. Got to thank Steve Thompson for coming in with that wonderful thing. And the one and only Mr. Anthony Brown, the wonderful artist, singer-songwriter. He was everything. He's just everything. And I just love him. Anyway, and Mr. Des Flanagan, thank you, Des, for coming in. And Jason. And without Jason, there wouldn't be a show tonight. And I just got to thank him. I've got to say, Alan Hodgson, I forgot to mention you. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm awfully sorry. But anyway, I'm dying of cold. See you all next week, fitting well, I suppose. And just leaves me to just say thank you, guys, and everyone else for taking part in tonight's show. And I'll see you all, God's willing, next week. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now. Bye.